Okay, just going to spotlight myself. Welcome, everybody. So interesting that we're talking about yin, because I don't know about you, but I've had quite a challenging day, I would say. Lots of things wanting to pull me out my center. So I was really feeling that need for that yin stillness this evening. Obviously, we're not going to do a totally yin class because that's not what this class is. But I thought we could do what I was calling in my head a bolster sandwich. So kind of starting with a few restorative postures and finishing with a few restorative postures, and then doing a bit more of a kind of dynamic class in between. So that was my plan, just to help me land in myself at the start of the class, and hopefully you too after whatever day you've had today. So I'm hoping you've all got a bolster, and if you don't, a pillow, even a block, or nothing. We can just do an alternative on the floor. So I will show the alternatives on the floor in case people joining the recording don't have bolsters. But if you have a bolster, let's start with a reclined chest opener, followed by the opposite, the kind of counter pose. And this is going to bring us into the class. So because it's the first posture of the class, you could do the incline version where we prop the bolster up on a brick, maybe not on the highest setting. Maybe if you have two bricks, you can make it more stable by having one halfway down on a lower setting. So creating this stable slope. If you're ready to go into a deeper back bend, you can just put the bolster on the floor. And if you don't have a bolster, just use a brick underneath the shoulder blades. Okay, so something for everyone. I'm going to try a gentle incline. And we'll start with bringing the bolster to the edge, the lower back, the sacrum, and gently laying the spine up the bolster, resting the head. Sometimes you may need an extra blanket underneath the head or something just to raise the head a little bit. I'm choosing Baddha Konasana legs, soles of the feet together, knees wide, but you could have Shavasana legs or knees bent or constructive rest posture with the inner knees touching. Good to turn the palms up. So you could also, as I say, have a brick underneath the heart space. So with the lower edge of the rib, of the shoulder blades resting on the upper rim of the block. If you don't have any support, just simply lie down on the floor. You won't get the chest opener, but we still just get this arriving in stillness. And again, choose any leg position. So just giving ourselves some time here to bring all the pieces of us here. So especially if we've had a day of challenges, obstacles, altercations, maybe difficult conversations. Whatever the day has brought to you, just noticing how it may have pulled a piece of you out of center, pulled a piece of you. Your mind might still be churning over these things. So we just draw the awareness back into the body, back into the breath, really noticing, inhabiting your breath fully, deepening the breath. Noticing if there's tension, maybe in the upper back that we're opening here, maybe the lower back. If we notice an incremental softening of that tension, releasing. And just double check your facial muscles, check you're not frowning. There's a serene expression on the face, even if you don't yet feel serene. You can fake it by relaxing the facial muscles, releasing the jaw. Just setting an intention for our practice to bring all of our pieces back home, to fully inhabit our body, to come back to our center, our energy field. And as we are in this chest opener, setting an intention to open our hearts to love of self. This is really where it begins. So even if you feel like you've messed up today, not done the best you could, just forgiving yourself and allowing space for self-love to blossom. It is our innate state, self-love. Anything that isn't self-love is an illusion, a veil. Just setting an intention for the veils of illusion to drop and come back to love. Taking a few more really deep breaths here, and if you wish, you can stretch the arms overhead, just to deepen that sense of opening in the chest area, the shoulders, breathing space into the heart area. And then slowly bring the hands back down. Enjoy that journey back down, the palms facing up. Take another couple of breaths before we move. Soften, soften. And then we're going to slowly roll to one side and press ourselves up. And you can keep the bolster where it is if you're using a bolster. You can even keep it on the incline. At this point, I'm going to drop mine down to the floor though. We're going to come into a counter posture, so with the big toes touching and the knees wide. We're going to line our front spine up the bolster now, just turn a head to one side, just hugging the bolster. So again, if you don't have a bolster, you could use a pillow or two pillows. You could use another yoga mat wrapped in a blanket, or if you don't have anything, just simply take an unsupported child's pose. And up to you if you do wide knee or knees together, and where you put your hands forwards or towards the feet. So just again settling in, relaxing the jaw and the face, allowing yourself to feel supported by the bolster, the pillow, the floor, whatever is supporting you. Soften the belly and see if you can soften the mind. Sometimes our mind is very self-attacking. I would go as far as to say often for many of us. So to see if we can soften the edges of that internal dialogue and turn self-attacking to self-loving. And then just turning the head to face the other way, unless you know this side is your tight side, in which case you can stay this side for longer. Otherwise, stretching the other side of the neck. Feel the back muscles starting to let go of the tension that's held there. And then facing your bolster, just walking the hands back in, having to kneel, moving the bolster to one side, but we will return to it at the end of our sandwich. Okay, so coming onto our hands and knees. With the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees under the hips, and start to mobilize the spine. So inhaling into the cow, lifting that tailbone, looking up. Exhale into the cat. And just enjoy bringing movement into your spine, awakening the spine, stretching and toning the muscles that support the spine. And then at the end of your exhale, return to a neutral spine. Keep the hips just where they are, directly above the knees, and walk the hands forward and melt the chest and the head towards the floor, softening in the armpits if you can. Coming into Anahatasana, our heart chakra posture. And this posture is all about softening the heart space. So if it's too intense, be more active, more like downward dog, but still try to breathe space into the heart. Just tuning in to the deeper truth that lies beyond, behind all the trials and tribulations of our lives. Beneath it all, there's this constancy of love in our hearts. Our natural, healthy way of being. Love of self, love of others, love of life. And at the end of your next breath, just pressing through the hands, lifting up, walking the hands back towards the knees, and just come to a kneeling position. And just check you're not overarching the spine and losing all core connection here. Just drop the tailbone, have a sense of core connection. And then we're going to inhale, stretch the arms up and interlace the hands above the head. So stretching up, and just drop the tailbone down, reach up through the palms, armpits nice and open, upper arms in line with the ears. And then we're going to exhale, twist to the left a tiny bit, just from the navel. It's not going to be far. Keep the upper arms next to the ears. Don't close the chest down. Inhale back to the center. Exhale to the right, twisting from the navel, feeling it like a spiral from the base of the spine up. Subtle. And then inhale back to the center. Exhale, release the hands, interlace them behind you now. And this time you can allow the lower back to arch a little bit, or we can allow the ribs to push forward, gently lifting the chin. You see if you can still drop the tailbone a little bit though, even in this kind of back bend, we can feel some core awareness. Breathing into the upper chest. And then releasing, bringing the hands out to the side, wide, and then bring the left arm on top of the right and either hug opposite shoulder, chin to chest, or wrap into the Garudasana, eagle arms. Elbows lifting, hands pressing forward, chin lifting. Drop the tailbone again, connect to your core. Breathing into the space behind the heart. And then release. Inhale, stretch wide, fingertip to fingertip. Exhale, bring right arm on top of left, either hug opposite shoulder, chin draws in, or wrap the arms into Garudasana, lifting the elbows, pressing hands forward. Again, check you've not overarched in the lower back. Drop that tailbone anchor again. Draw the lower belly in. Breathe into the space behind the heart, the space between the shoulder blades, increasing as you inhale. And release. And just come to sit down. So just come to a seated position. And we're just going to open to the sides as well. So inhale, raising the hands above the head. And exhale, left hand down, right hand over to the left, keeping the buttocks on the floor. Opening the side body now. So opening all around the heart space, giving it room to breathe. Inhale, palms touch above the head. Exhale, bring the right hand down, left hand over to the right. Keep the buttocks on the floor. Breathe into that left side body. Inhale back to the center. And then just 3 times, we're going to synchronize breath and movement. So just turn the palms up. Use your inhale to bring the palms above the head and the palms touch at the top of the inhale. And as we exhale, we simply draw a line down through the center line of the body. And at the end of that exhale, we release the hands back to the starting position, ready to inhale, sweeping it up. We'll do this 5 times so you can get into a bit of a rhythm. And exhale down. Maybe close the eyes so you're not trying to follow me. Just tune into your breath and try to coordinate inhales, exhales with the movement. Just allowing it to flow, a moving meditation. Feel the expansiveness of that inhale, that sweeping up of the arms on the inhale, creating space in the torso, and exhale, centering ourselves, coming back to our center. We expand to go out, and then we come back into the center. And when you've done 5, just let the hands rest at the center of the chest, palms touching, keeping the eyes closed for a moment, just really feeling internal, centered, connecting to your heart space. Your thumbs are somewhere on your sternum, close to the heart. Maybe you can feel the heartbeat underneath your left thumb. Slow, deep, steady breaths. Internal. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into downward dog. So just move however you need to find your way into a downward dog. And we want to spread the fingers and spread the toes and maybe take a few breaths to really stretch the heels into this posture, walking the heels out. And eventually dropping both heels down towards the floor, connecting to your core, so lifting the lower belly up to the spine. Relax your jaw, have space around the ears, like an external rotation of the upper arms without losing the internal rotation of the wrist or the lower forearm, the forearm. Pressing down through first finger knuckle and thumb knuckle. And then we're going to inhale, raise the right leg. And exhale, lower down. Just simply that. Swap sides. Inhale, raise the left leg as high as it will go. Exhale, lowering it down. You can come forward to tabletop or plank, rolling over the toes, opening ourselves out into tabletop or plank, but either way, shoulders are above the wrist. Drawing the tailbone under if you're in plank, strong legs. We're going to come down to the floor on an exhale, so again, lower the knees if you want to make it easier. Bringing ourselves down, all the way down to the floor. Inhaling, opening out to a cobra. Taking a breath or 2. Exhale, lowering down. Slide the hands forward. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders and come into Sphinx. Taking a few breaths here. Drawing those shoulders back, opening the chest, opening the heart space. Lifting up through the spine, pressing down through the pubic bone. Lowering the head down, bringing the hands to the side. Inhale, locust, shalabhasana, lift everything up. And exhale down. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, either up to tabletop with the knees or tuck the toes under, lift the belly to the spine. Press yourself back up to plank. Press back to downward dog. We'll just repeat that sequence, just building it up a little bit. So inhale, raise the right leg. And this time we can bend the knee and let the foot drop over towards the left and just hold for a breath or so. If you're very flexible in the lower back, really draw that tailbone under so you don't over compress the lower back. Inhale, stretch the toe up towards the ceiling again. Exhale, release the right foot down. Inhale, left leg lifts. One-legged dog. Bend the knee, let the foot drop over to the right with gravity. Again, maybe connect your core, especially if you're Very open here in the back. Keep integrity. Inhale, extend that leg up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, roll forward to either plank or tabletop. Pause for a breath to find that full body integrity. And then exhale, lower down, knees on or off the floor, just coming all the way down to the floor. Inhale, open up to a baby cobra, hands underneath the shoulders. Neck long, just looking to the floor in front of you. And exhale, lower. Slide the hands forward. Press yourselves up onto your forearms so the elbows are underneath the shoulders. Draw the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together and down the spine. Looking forward, long neck. Breathing into the front body. And exhale, lowering down. Hands by the side, or alternatively, hands interlaced, and inhale, lift up, Shalabhasana, locust. So we lift chest, feet, arms, head, everything. The lower belly and the pubic bone are pressing down into the floor, but breathe as deep as you can. Exhale, lowering down, release the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes either up to tabletop or all the way up to plank, and back to downward dog. I'm going to do one more round. So just establish your downward dog. And then we're going to inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, let the foot drop over to the left. And there is an option here for wild thing. If you feel ready for it, you start to come onto the fingertips of the right hand and you allow the right foot to come down to the floor behind you, and you lift the hips to the ceiling and drop the head and the right hand down. Real heart opener. Feel that expansiveness of the heart open. And then turn to face the mat, bring that right hand back down, bring the right foot back down. Refind downward dog. So you can skip wild thing, no problem. So inhale, raise the left leg, bend the left knee, let the foot drop over towards the right. Stay here or challenge yourself, leap of faith, come onto the left fingertips, lift the left hand, allow left foot to come down to the floor behind you, and lift the chest, drop the head, drop the left arm, and breathe into that big open heart, and then look to the floor, bring left hand down, pivot on the feet, left foot down, and again, find downward dog. Well done. And then one last time, either forward to tabletop or plank, holding for that extra breath also here to really feel the power in your body. And then exhale, lowering down towards the floor, hands under the shoulder. Inhale, cobra, and maybe this time we might start to press up a bit higher, but still drawing the shoulders down. Glue the fingertips down, try not to let them lift, very actively pressing down, hands here, buttocks relaxing. Exhale, lowering down. Again, coming into the Sphinx, sliding the hands forward, elbows underneath the shoulders. And again, stay here, or just a slight variation, you turn the hands out to the sides of the mat this time, and again, press up a bit higher. So your choice, or otherwise just back in the Sphinx with the forearms down. And slowly lowering down. And then one more Shalabhasana. So your choice, either hands by the side or interlace, maybe swap the interlace of the little finger on the outside. Inhale, lift everything up. Exhale, lower. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, back up, tabletop or plank, back to downward dog. Just take a breath or so in downward dog. Opening out the spine, connecting to the core. The end of the exhale, look forward, walk or step the feet to the hands. Maybe have a block handy. We're going to do a forward fold with a twist. So just first of all, hanging the torso over the legs, you can bend the knees. You can hold the opposite elbow to really traction the side body here. Or something I like to do sometimes is just place my hands on my feet to ground when I'm really needing to come back to center, to ground, just having that reassuring press of the hands on the feet, develop that feeling of embodied connection with the earth. And then inhale, look forward. We're going to bring the left hand down underneath the face. So this is where you could use a block on any of its heights. And just bring the right hand onto the lower back. Turn to the right, draw the right shoulder back. If it feels okay, lift the right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release the right hand down, swap sides. Turn to the left, left hand on the lower back, draw the left shoulder back. Maybe reach the left hand up. Try to keep the hips over the ankles, not behind the ankles. Stacking the bones. Exhale, release the hands down. Keep your fingertips on the floor, walk the feet to the width of the mat, maybe turning the toes out, sinking the hips into Malasana. Had a momentary lapse there. Malasana squat. Lifting up through the spine. Again, feeling this as a chest opener, a heart opener as best we can. Opening that chest forward. And then placing the hands down. Just lifting the hips back up again. Walk the feet back to hip distance apart and just step your right foot back, bringing the hands back so that they frame the left foot. So we're in a low lunge here. And we're going to come into the twist. So use a hand on a block if you need. Right hand under the shoulder. Twist to the left, either left hand on the hip or reaching it up, drawing the navel to the spine, looking up to the top hand, strong in the back leg. Nice. And then swap sides. So bring the left hand down to the outside of the left foot. Inhale, raise the right hand or take right hand onto right hip. Try to keep rolling the right hip towards the floor though. So we just twist in the upper body. Exhale down. Step back, downward dog. And then bringing the right foot forward. Left hand under the left shoulder. Inhale, twist to the right. Lifting right hand or right hand on the hip. Drawing the navel to the spine. Exhale, bring that right hand down to the outside of the right foot and twist the other way, lifting left hand. Keep rolling the left hip down towards the floor. And exhale, releasing that hand down. Step back to downward dog. And at the end of your exhale, look forward, walk or step or jump, feet to the hands. Inhale, look up, extend through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, raise the hands above the head. Reach and stretch, palms touch. And exhale, hands back to the side for mountain pose. So we're going to go into a balance here. We're going to do Utkatasana, but we're going to do the one-legged version, okay? So it's quite intense. So left leg is going to be our standing leg. First of all, we're going to place the outer right ankle on front of the left thigh, just above the knee. So it's that number 4 shape. The shin is parallel to the floor. And just bring my palms to the center of the chest for a moment. Then we're going to exhale, bend the left knee. And then we're going to inhale, stretch the hands up like we do in chair. So sitting down on that chair behind us, weight in the heel, look up to your fingertips if you feel balanced. If you feel wobbly, just keep the gaze on the floor in front of you. Opening the chest, opening the back. Strong work. Inhale, straighten that left leg. Release the right foot down, release the hands down. Well done. If you need to shake anything out, move the hips between sides and do. And then the other side. So first of all, finding the starting position, outer left ankle on the front of the right knee. If this isn't for you, by the way, just do the tree, normal tree. Palms to the center of the chest as we start to bend the right knee. I'm sticking the bum out behind you a little bit, because as if we're trying to sit in a chair, and then reach the hands behind you and inhale, sweeping them up, getting that length, opening the chest. If the shoulders are tight, your hands might be more in front, that's fine. Look to the fingertips if you feel balanced, or look forward or down. See how low into that chair you can sink. Don't compromise your knee. This is great for building strength in the muscles that support the knee, but we don't want to overdo it. Really dynamically stretch through the fingertips. Inhale, straighten up. Exhale, release. Bring the hands down to the side. Well done. Again, just shake it out. Maybe just move the hips a little bit. Okay, let's step the feet nice and wide. And we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, lift the chest, look up, and exhale, hinge forward, bringing the hands up, maybe over, depending on our openness of our shoulders. If this feels unstable, feel free to use the hands on the floor instead, that version, the normal version. With the hands interlaced, we have to use the legs harder, stronger legs, so really firming the thighs, connecting to your core. And then inhale, using your knuckles to pull you back up. Open wide, stretch fingertip to fingertip, and bring the hands to the side. And just take a moment just to let the blood flow the other way, maybe bringing the legs together, back to that, again, back to the center. That's a feeling of centering and grounding. So we'll have a go at a couple more balances to really get ourselves present. Half moon, so triangle into the half moon. So if you know you need a block, just have it handy by your right foot. Okay, so turn left foot in, right foot out, hips forward. Inhale here and exhale, stretch to the right, bring the right hand down to the right leg, left hand lifts. Opening up into triangle, another lovely, spacious posture around the chest eventually, when we can open the chest sideways, really create space. Exhale, bring the left hand to the left hip, turn to face your right foot, bend the right knee, step or walk the back foot in as you bring your fingertips down to the floor, forwards and to the outside of that right foot, and lift the back foot, even if it's just hovering above the floor and the right knee's bent. Just do what you can here. If you're wobbly, the chest is closed, you're looking down. If you feel stable, start to open the torso to the side, drawing that left shoulder back, maybe raising the left hand, strong in the back leg. Connect to your core. There is an option here, Chapasana, bringing left heel to buttock, holding the top of the left foot with the hand, and then push the foot into the hand as you kind of send the chest forward. So it's a back bend. It's another heart opener, a bit like Wild Thing. It's got that same feeling. And then squeeze the heel to the buttock, release back into half moon, bend the standing leg, bring that left foot down. Inhale, bring ourselves back up. And we'll go to the other side. So have your block next to your left foot if you're going to need it. And when you're ready, right foot turns in, hips face forward. Inhale, stretching through the fingertips, and exhale, slide to the left. Left hand down, right hand up. Looking up to that top hand. Drawing tailbone under, navel in. Deep breaths. Try to feel that lifting of the right fingertips, opening space around the chest, heart space. Exhale to bring that right hand to hip, turn to face left foot, bend left knee, bring the weight into that left leg, start to raise the right foot off the floor as high as is available. If you feel stable, start to open the chest to the side and maybe raise the top hand, maybe even raise the gaze to look up to the top hand, strong in the back leg, connect to your core. Stay here, or right heel to buttock, right hand comes back to hold the front of the foot. And then in this version, we push the foot into the hand, which draws the right shoulder back. At the same time, it's like we're pushing the chest and the hips forward, feeling this as a back bend, a variation of Chapasana. And then squeeze the heel back into the buttock, release back into half moon, bend the standing leg. Everybody come down now, bring that right foot down, bring ourselves back up. Turn the feet forward, and again, kind of consciously come back to your center, maybe bringing the hands to the chest again in Anjali Mudra. So the thumbs touch the sternum, and the left thumb is more or less above the heart here. Maybe closing the eyes, So again, we move from being very outwardly expansive to right back in. And these qualities are directly connected. The more we connect inwards to our self-love, the more we can connect outwards in the world with others from that place. Just allowing the heart rate to settle. Okay, releasing the hands. Let's just do one more standing posture. The revolve triangles, and do the kind of full triangle sequence. This is a lovely twist. Okay, a lot going on though, so listen to your body. So we've got the right foot forward first, and the left toes turned in, and the hips are facing forward. They're facing the right foot. If you know your hamstrings are tight, have a block on the inside of your right foot. Right hand on hip. Inhale, stretch up through the left side. Exhale, reaching forward, and then bring that left hand down. Maybe it needs the block on the big toe side. If you're very open and you know the posture, left hand could be on right foot, or it could even be on the floor to the little toe side of the foot. So choose the right position for you. Draw the navel in as you start to twist towards the right, drawing the right shoulder back, and eventually maybe raising the right hand. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Stay connected to your core. Really draw that lower belly back to the spine here. Feel a real core integrity at the center of the posture as we radiate out from that center. And then look to the floor, bring the right hand to the lower back, take a little bend into the right knee. Inhale, coming up. Bring your block with you if you're going to need it as we pivot to face the left foot, or just swap legs if you prefer to keep facing the screen. Left foot forward, hips face forward, left hand on hip. Inhale, reach up through right side. Exhale, reach forward and bring that right hand down to the floor or the block underneath the right shoulder as a starting place. And then if you know, you can go deeper on the foot or little toe side of the foot. Squeeze the inner thighs together, draw the belly in, start to twist towards the left. Try to keep the legs as straight as possible and maybe lift the left hand. And if available, we're looking up to that top hand. Pressing down through the soles of both feet, especially the big toe edge of the front foot, little toe edge of the back foot. Core drawing in for awareness. And then look to the floor, release the left hand to the left hip, bend that left knee. Inhale, come up. Open wide, fingertip to fingertip. And again, consciously step yourself to your center, maybe or maybe just hands by the sides, but back to coming inwards. Keep going out to come back in. Notice your heart rate. Let it slow down. Okay. So we'll move towards the floor here. So standing in Tadasana with the hands at the center of the chest. We're going to inhale, stretch the hands up and come up onto the balls of the feet, up onto the toes. And this can be a tricky balance. Just see if we can stay here for a while, feeling how it's working the quads, sorry, not the quads, the calf muscles. And that we're making lots of micro adjustments in the feet to stay lifted. We're going to try and keep the heels lifted and keep the spine in a neutral position. So try not to lean forwards as we slowly drop the heels down. Try not to rush. There's going to come a part where it's really challenging to keep slow, but try to keep a slow pace until the heels rest on the hips rest on the heels, and we bring the hands onto the front of the thighs. See if we can drop the tailbone, draw the belly in, and once again bring the hands to that Anjali mudra at the center of the chest. Try to keep the inner thighs touching or close. Very tricky little balance. Don't worry if you fall out, it's really normal. No matter how advanced a practitioner, how many years you've been practicing, this one can always throw a little curveball. And then see, this may or may not be possible. See if we can reach the hands forward, come down onto the heels, and you might just fall back at this point, or stay for a breath or two, and then bring the buttocks down. And we'll come straight into a twist. I'm just going to change the screen. So have your left foot outstretched, and your right foot to the outside of the left knee. And just take a moment here, hands clasped around the front of that right knee to kind of feel yourself lifting up. It's like we've got that pivot point of hands on the knee to help us lift through the lower back, lift up and opening the chest. And then release your right hand behind you. Inhale, lift up through your left side. Exhale, twist from the navel to the right and either hug the knee into the elbow or press the elbow to the outside of the thigh, or even take the bind. But don't focus so much on depth, more on breath. We want to try and keep this chest broad and open, spaciousness around the heart, looking towards your right shoulder. Focus on bringing the breath into the chest today as you breathe in. And as you exhale, come back to the front and lean to the left. So you can repeat what we just did. Otherwise, Ardha Matsyendrasana. We bring the right foot to the outside of the left hip. And you might need to sit on a block at this point. And you may also need to swap the foot position to the other side of the knee. And then the same, right hand supports you. Inhale, stretch up through the left. Exhale, twist into either hugging the knee, pressing to the outer thigh, or taking the bind, or even full Ardha Matsyendrasana. We hold onto the big toe edge of the front foot, but that's pretty extreme. And again, we're not going for depth today. We're going for breath and spaciousness in the chest. So maybe don't go as far as you usually go in this posture. Try to point the left foot. Try to press the inner edge of the right foot down, including the big toe. Feel that activate the inner right thigh muscles. This is good. And then unravel and back to the center. And we'll swap sides. So right foot out, left foot to the outside of the right knee. Left hand behind you. Inhale, stretch up through the right. Exhale, twist to the bent leg, hugging the knee in or pressing, lifting up through the spine, drawing the lower belly in, feeling broad across the chest here. And inhale to the center and leaning to the right, bringing the right heel to the outside of the left hip, swapping the position of your left foot if you need, bringing it to the other side of the knee. We're using a block. Left hand behind you. Inhale, stretch up through the right. Exhale, twist. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Point the right foot if you can. Press through the inner edge of the left foot. Anchor down through the tailbone, the buttocks. Lift up through the spine. Drawing the navel in. And again, just focus on breadth and spaciousness in the chest. As you breathe in, see if you can fill the chest with extra space from inside. Always tricky in a twist, but possible. And then inhale back to the center. And just release the legs. Maybe just take them forward, give them a little flop side to side kind of moment. We're going to come forwards and backwards again, opening the front and the back of the heart. So first into Paschimottanasana, so the legs outstretched in front of you. Inhale, lengthen up through the sides, and exhale, take the hands forward to whatever they meet here, dropping the head. So really bring the chin towards the chest. Maybe you've got the eyes closed, maybe you're looking back towards the navel. And we're opening the upper back here. We're dropping the shoulders. We're taking the breath into the space behind and between the shoulder blades, which for most of us seems to carry a lot of held tension. Right, we're literally carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, on our upper back, like a big backpack of stress and worry and concern. So kind of feeling ourselves breathing into and unsticking some of that, just allowing some of that that's held within us to loosen with our breath, with our awareness and our intention. Relaxing the jaw and the face, just softening into the posture. into the journey of the posture. Just a few more slow, deep, releasing breaths here, melting the tension away from the upper back, dropping the head. And then at the end of your next exhale, just inhale to come up. Find the neutral spine for a moment, maybe Dandasana, hands either side of the hips, drawing the chin in slightly. And then bring the hands behind you with the fingertips pointing forward. If you know Parsvottanasana is not for you, then bend the knees and come into the upward tabletop. Otherwise, Parsvottanasana with the legs straight, we draw the shoulders forward, we press through the hands and lift the hips, and drop the head all the way back if it feels safe to do so. Keep actively pressing through the hands, keep actively inwardly rotating the legs to press the big toes towards each other and down. And then slowly come down using your hands breaks, allow the buttocks to gently float down. And again, come back to that Dandasana, that neutral spine, hands either side of the hips, shoulders drawing down, chin slightly drawing in, lower belly scooping in and up, legs strong so the toes are pointing up to the ceiling. And then we're going to take the legs wide, so coming into a wide leg forward fold. So we're going to stay a good while here, at least 10 slow deep breaths or so, okay, depending on the speed of our breath. So if you just want to be more spacious, you can just not go so far. Let's come to what feels like the right place for you today. Walking the hands forward, settling in and understanding that the posture is a journey. So we don't need to go to our deepest place straight away. We don't need to force. Just come to, as soon as you meet resistance, kind of stop. Breathe into that resistance. Doesn't need to be intense, just the slightest resistance. And as you breathe and soften and open into that edge, maybe that edge itself starts to soften. And we can go a little bit deeper, but just let the journey invite you. Don't force. And let your breath guide you. Your body sensations guide you again. It's coming back to our intention, self-love. When we practice with self-love, we never injure ourselves because we are listening, honoring our body's wisdom. And not listening to any self-attacking mind dialogue that tells us we should be doing things better or more. Self-loving practice. And if we do get lost in the mind and push it too far and hurt ourselves, then again, we have to come back to self-love, forgiveness. We're going to keep getting it wrong. This is life. We learn all the time. We're just bringing it back time and time again to the softness of love, self-love, the freedom of forgiveness. Just a few more deep breaths, just seeing where the journey takes you today. Maybe deeply inwards, maybe into your breath, maybe into a sensation in your body. And then at the end of your next exhale, just slowly walk the hands back in. And before we come out of this leg position, if you need to come out, do, but otherwise we're just going to twist again. So facing the left, twist again from the navel, and you can either just have one hand either side of the thigh or bring your right hand onto the thigh, left hand behind you, or even left hand all the way around to find the right thigh. Drawing the lower belly in. Again, feeling that breadth, broadness across the chest, space in the chest. Try to be on the base of your pelvis, not rolling to the front edge or too much on the back edge. Feel those two sit bones pointing directly downwards. Don't overarch the lower back if you can. And then unwinding back to the center. Take a big inhale. And exhale, twist again from the navel to the right, either framing that right thigh with the hands or left hand to right thigh, right hand behind or right hand reaches for left thigh, if that doesn't close down the chest. Breathe into the chest, check your position on the base of your pelvis. And then unwind, coming back to the center. Okay, hands behind the knees to assist you to draw the legs together, just making yourself that tight little ball for a moment, little shape, again, coming back to the center after the expansion. And then we're going to come down onto the floor on our backs, and we're kind of moving more towards the restorative postures again. We're not quite there, but we're easing our way in. So we're going to do a back bend, and if you feel like you've still got some energy that you need to burn this evening, then you can do an unsupported Seti Bandhasana or even a wheel, because we're quite well prepped for back bending. But my invitation, what I'm needing and feeling this evening is to start winding it down energetically. So I'm going to come into quite a deep back bend by coming onto the higher setting of my block, but using my block as a support on the sacrum. If that's too intense for your body, medium setting or lower setting is absolutely fine. So just check your really on the sacrum here. So if it feels at all like the block is poking into the vertebra, then it's too high. For me, I'm actually on the top of the buttocks. It's really quite low, and it feels totally comfortable. Flat edge, meeting flat edge. So we can just start to, as we did at the beginning, start to soften our body into trusting our prop. If we notice we don't trust it, then it's not quite in the right place. Just rearrange, do what you need. And again, you can experiment with inhaling to raise the arms overhead, the palms facing up, or cactus arms, elbows in line with the shoulders, palms facing up or out to the side. Just explore what feels like the most expansive arm position to open the heart space, the chest. And there's not much we have to do here. Just release into the support. Maybe the breath naturally wants to stay deep and full. But often when we start to move more into supported restorative postures, the breath can actually just become quite soft. So just kind of give yourself permission to let the breath do what it needs to do here. Just make sure you're not holding the breath. It's a regular flow in and out of your breath. Notice how the stretching feelings in the body shift with the breath. Relax your jaw in your face. Close the eyes or soften the gaze. And then just Bringing awareness back to your core. So we're going to press down through the feet, but before you do that, just connect to your core, drawing the lower belly in. Then press through the feet, lift up, lift the block out of the way, and then just enjoy rolling the spine down from the upper back to the lower back like a spinal massage. Placing the sacrum down, moving the shoulders up the mat if you need, and just coming into knees bent position or maybe constructed rest. Just allowing the spine to come to a neutral position here. Counter pose, I'm going to give you two options. We've already done both postures this evening. So when you're ready to move, just slowly roll to one side and sit yourself up. And your choices are to come to, once again, the wide knee child's pose with or without a bolster. So, and again, your bolster could be inclined. So we can revisit the child's pose, or you can revisit the seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana, but this time with support. So this is, I love this posture, resting my forehead on the block, palms facing up. So your choice, find your way into one of these shapes. If you are cold in any way, so kind of slowing down, just make sure you put another layer on. I'm just about to get a jump for myself. And soften into your chosen shape here. Again, if you don't have a bolster, you can just do this unsupported, but just really, really softly, no force, either child's pose or seated forward fold. If you've not got a bolster, just make sure you're not going to 100% of your effort, like 60% max. Just check your jaw and face are relaxed, relaxing your back. You've turned your head to one side in child's pose, turn it the other way. And then we're going to slowly think about coming up, just letting the head come up last, whichever position you're in. Just moving the bolster out of the way. We're going to come into an inversion. So if you have a bolster, your inversion could be at the wall. And you could do supported vipariti karani at the wall, and we can also do it in the middle of the room. So if you've got a bolster, you bring it to the wall, as I'm showing here, crossways. It's a little bit interesting getting into it, especially if you've got a high bolster like me. You sit on the bolster in the middle of it with the hip facing the wall, use your hands to support you as you pivot, take the hands up the wall, try and scoop so the buttocks face the wall, and then you just have to gently lower the upper body down. It can feel a little bit interesting getting into it, but it's lovely once you're there. If you don't have a bolster or you don't have wall space, just stay in the center and you can use a block or just your hands underneath the sacrum to come into kind of a supported vipariti karani. So if you don't have anything really support, you just place your buttocks on your hands with the palms down and lift your feet like this. Sorry if my internet's dodgy, it's that it's unstable. I hope you got all of that. Any doubts? If I dropped out and you're not sure what you're doing, just unmute and let me know. You can also be at the wall without a bolster underneath you, of course. Okay, so I see some of us are in the middle of the room, so we won't spend too long here because it's a bit more challenging in the middle of the room, but at least 10 slow deep breaths. Those at the wall, you can experiment where you place your arms, whether that's out to the side or overhead. Again, just looking for that expansion of the chest area. And then when you feel you've done enough, those of you in the center of the room, 10 breaths or so, you're starting to fatigue, just one at a time, lower the legs. So I'll let you kind of dictate when we come out of this. If you're happy there, that's great. Okay. So everybody just starting to think about coming out now. So if you're at the wall, just bringing the knees towards the chest. If you're in the room, just single leg or double leg lowering. And then those at the wall, you have to roll to one side. If you're on a high bolster, just be mindful because it can again be interesting coming off that bolster. And just bring yourself in towards the mat again, the center of the room. And we'll stay lying down. We'll just do a little bit of a psoas stretch here. So come to lie on your back and hug the right knee into the right side of the chest. And see if you can just hold the knee with the right hand and reach the left arm overhead as you stretch forward through the left heel, toes to the ceiling. So we're elongating the left psoas, contracting the right psoas. And just really breathe space into that left side of the body here, especially around the inner hip, the belly, where the psoas passes through the pelvic floor, softening. So much of our internal held tension is locked into the psoas, very associated with unprocessed trauma, stress. We're still holding on to, packed into the deepest part of the body. And then just bringing that left hand back down, releasing the right foot forward. And same on the other side. Bring the left knee into the left side of the chest, holding it with the left hand, and reach the right arm overhead as you press forward through the right heel. Just have a kind of intention here to connect to your, especially your right psoas. We're contracting the left, releasing the right. This ropey muscle going from the spine to the inner thigh, top of the inner thigh, through the pelvic floor, running to the inside edge of that right hip. So just have a sense of breathing space into this area, releasing what might be ready to release, allowing us to drop more of the veils of illusion and more of the trauma that we hold within us, the stress and the tension that we can release, and the closer we can come to our true nature, to loving ourselves. And then just release the left arm, the left leg forward and reach the left arm back. So you're just in a full body stretch for a moment, pressing out through the heels, reaching fingertips back, pressing the lower back down towards the floor a little bit so we don't overarch the lower back, feeling our deep core awareness here. And then we're going to bring both knees into the chest. So allowing the knees to come towards the chest, holding either the front of the shins or the back of the knees. Maybe a little bit of movement coming in, side to side, or just stillness. Relax the jaw in the face. Really being present with your body, your breath, even your mind, watching the mind. And then we're going to release the feet to the floor. Just lift the hips, scoot them a couple of centimeters to the left. Drop the knees over to the right, extending the left arm away and looking over the left shoulder. And your right hand can just rest on that left thigh and anchor it down if that feels good. Or extend it out to the side. Use a pillow or a blanket between the thighs if that helps, or underneath the right thigh. And really try to soften the left side of the body, left belly, the left psoas again, and the inside of the hip bone. Upper part of the psoas getting a nice stretch, release. Jaw relaxed. Maybe the faintest hint of a smile on your face to help relax the facial muscles and find that serene facial posture that releases the muscles. The opposite of stress and tension. Peace. And drawing belly to spine. Just coming back to the center, one knee at a time. Planting the feet down. Inhale, lifting the hips back to the center and then over to the right a couple of centimeters. Knees drop over to the left, supporting with a blanket however you need. Right arm extends away. We spiral the twist up the spine by looking over the right shoulder. And then just really feel this huge stretch on the right side of the body, right chest, right side body, right psoas and inner hip and groin and belly. Breathe space into this area. Slowing the breath down. And then draw the belly in. Roll back to the center. Plant the feet. Come back to central alignment through the body. Take happy baby. Holding onto the outer edges of the feet, the ankles or the knees, backs of the knees. Just a few more really slow, deep breaths. Nourishing breaths. Centering breaths. And then bringing the knees together again, just hugging them in tight, maybe lifting the head up to meet the knees, a tight squeeze for a breath or two. And then allow yourself to unfurl into a lovely Shavasana, maybe with a bolster under the knees, blanket, palms facing up. You might just wish, before we come into full Shavasana, just to bring one hand onto the heart, one hand onto the belly, and just again bringing our awareness back to that intention to release the veils of illusion that prevent us from feeling our truth, which is love, love of self, healthy love of self. And this allows us to have a healthy love of others and life. This is our true nature. And it's always there, it's constant. We may get flashes of feeling it. And then the veils come back down, but it's always there. Just know that, feel that. And then Shavasana, releasing the arms into total surrender, total letting go of the body, of the mind. And receive the fruits of your practice. And as always, if you have longer, please stay in Shavasana. I'd like to close with me at the end of the class. Just deepen your breath. Have to move the fingers and the toes. Stretching it out. Gently returning to seated in your own time. And then just one last time, just bringing the hands with this consciousness of bringing ourselves to our center with the thumbs touching the sternum, maybe closing the eyes, maybe bowing the head to the hands, to our heart space. Gratitude for our practice, for ourselves, our journey, our body, our learnings, and the love that we put out into the world in our own way, through our essence. And then lifting the gaze, blinking the eyes open. Thank you for practicing with me this evening. Namaste. See you soon.